Tag, I'm it. Hi, I'm Michael Everts, and you're watching Fit to be Read. Today I am responding to a tag, and it is the Ideal Bookshelf tag. I was tagged by Jess at the Bookish Mom. I'm looking forward to this because this is the first time I've been tagged. My channel is Fit to be Read. Fit because that's the name of my personal training gym in Washington, D.C. So what's this trainer doing talking about books? I love to read. I love science fiction. I love talking about books. I love the booktube community. So here we go. So this tag, I actually had to look it up. I'm not new to YouTube, and am I supposed to be responding to this, or am I just tagged in the video, or what? So this is 10 questions, and I'm gonna jump right in. So the first question is, let me use my blackboard here. Here we go. First book I remember reading as a child. That's a great one, and I love thinking about this. The first book series that I really remember reading is the Three Investigators series. And I specifically am choosing and singling out The Mystery of the Singing Serpent. I'm going to put the book cover up here, and you can see why as a kid this cover was just too cool. And the other one in the series is called Rogue's Reunion. And I was young enough when I was reading this that it was always a mystery to me each time I would pick it up. Sometimes it was Rogue's Reunion to me, and sometimes it was Rougeau's Reunion. So, yeah, that really got me interested in reading. There's still elements of those books that I remember to this day, and this is, 30-some years ago. Yeah, I'm old. Number 2. A book received as a gift. Alright, so I've got a couple of these, and I have them on the shelf up here. One is Mona Awad's Bunny. This was given to me by a client and a very good friend a little over a year ago. I haven't read it yet. If you're familiar with this book, and we'll grab it here. There it is. Bunny, a novel by Mona Awad. And, let's see. Mona Awad's precision is only matched by her wit as she mounts one of the most pristine, delightful attacks on popular girls since Clueless. Alright, so if you've watched any of my videos, you're probably thinking this is not necessarily up his alley. But you know what? It was recommended. I will always read something that was recommended to me. I'll give it a shot and I'll get to it eventually. I feel like a little bit of a deadbeat because I haven't gotten to it yet, and it has been about a year and a half. But I promise, Amy, I will work this in. Where can I put this? Right here. Another one is Boys on the Boat. I'm not going to pull this one down, but I've got 2 copies of this one. And it's interesting because one year somebody gave it to me because we were talking about books and it was recommended to me. And it was another client of mine, and she gave it to me, and I started reading it. I got about 40 pages in. Life happened, and I never got around to reading it again. On my birthday, another client, she gave me the book as well. So I have 2 copies of this book and about 30 pages read. Number 3, important to teenage years. So let me see here. Important to teenage years. It's late at night. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use my notes. The Lord Won't Mind. Okay, this one is getting a little bit personal. So I was probably 19. I'm going to age myself at this because I think I was probably a sophomore in college. And this was significant to me because, and just getting a little bit real for a minute here, I was in the closet at that time, and I was growing up in a very Catholic family, and I had the whole, you can't be gay because you're going to go to hell, and that sort of thing. And I met somebody who was sort of like a mentor-ish to me, somebody very open-minded, and they gave me this book, The Lord Won't Mind, and, in hindsight, it's a little bit of smutty, but it's really, at the time, to me, a beautiful love story. And it was about 2 boys that find each other. So it really resonated with me, and it was like nothing I'd ever read or seen or believed was possible before. And it just opened my mind up to a whole lot of interesting things. So it really had a huge impact to me as a teenager and a young adult. Number 4, a book that I always go back to. Okay, so another thing to know about me is I don't follow the rules. I'm not going to list just one book for all of these. I have a number of books for this one. So Asimov anything Asimov, the Foundation series, the Robot series, I can always and will always go back to those. I love them so much. The Ender series, there's so much diversity in that series. Ender's Game followed by Speaker of the Dead, like one is a sequel to the other, but they're so very different and they're so compelling. And Xenocide after that, very, very intriguing and gets you thinking. I can always go back to the Ender's Game series, and it's one of the ones I recommend most to folks that are new to science fiction. And then Something Wicked This Way Comes. I brought this one here. I think I have this later in the list. We'll see if we get back to it again, so maybe I won't talk about it now, but it's just one that I remember from my childhood. I have it as always come back to. It's like I want to come back to it. This one stuck with me. I was really young when I read this too. I was probably in, I don't know, 7th or 8th grade, and this was reading in school. Maybe it was required, and I don't even think I read the whole thing, but it was one of those things where like it sticks with me and I want to go back and read it. I won't spend too much time on that. Let's see. Brings you a feeling of pride. All right, this is going to be a little bit on the nose and a little bit literal. This is Gay Dads. Okay, I'm a gay dad. I have 2 kids, and that's a big part of who I am and a big part of my life. Let's see. Feeling of wonder. All right, so I was going to talk about Dahlgren here because I just like to throw that in whenever I can because I want people to read that and I want people to comment about that. I want them to talk about it. I want to see what they thought of it. It's such an interesting, unique book. And now I have talked about it, but I really meant to put in here Death's End by Cixin Liu. That's another cheat because the question was feeling of wonder. I get to talk about 3 books. 3 Body Problem, The Dark Forest, and Death's End, but really Death's End because it's so wonderful, it's so epic, it's so spanning. We have a 2-dimensional space, 4-dimensional space. I just did a review on that one. I'm a little goofy in it in the beginning, but check it out because the first half of it's spoiler free, and if it is compelling to you, you've got 3 books to get in there for you. You've got, again, 3 Body, Dark Forest, Death's End, all very, very interesting science fiction. And then Dune. What can I say about Dune? Dune is a masterpiece. It's a classic. It can be in almost any one of these categories here. A sense of wonder, absolutely. It's so spanning. And it's really timeless. There's also I believe, new movie with Timothée Chalamet coming out on that as well. So that's exciting to look forward to. Next we have Reread or Love the Most. Asimov's Foundation. This is, to me, the pinnacle of science fiction. It's so phenomenal. I've read through this series 3 times already, and it's actually was 3 times in short order, and it's probably been about 15 years since the last time, so for me to say that really legitimately and appropriately, I feel like I've got to go back and now read it again, and I will, because it's so wonderful, and it'll be a little different this time, because I probably have a good 15 years since the last reading of this series. And it's going to be in my top 10, and I really want to do a top 10 list, but I can't do it until I read Dune again, Ender's series again, and Asimov again, because those are like in my top 4, and I want to be kind of fresh on those before I talk about those again. Let's see, number 8. You want to have on your shelves forever. I'm coming back to Dune on this one, and this is just a real specific mention. So the Folio Society edition of Dune, I'm sure I've got something I'm going to put up here so you can see it. That's my favorite book cover of all time for a book. I don't have that copy. I want it, and when I get it, it will always be right here on the bookshelf. Next is number 9. On your shelf, you want what you want everyone to read on your shelf. All right, so I'm coming back to Death's End, and this is where the cheat is. If I tell you Death's End, that's this blue, yellow, and green back here behind me. That's the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy. And by reading Death's End, which is the 3rd book of the trilogy, I'm telling you I want you to read 3 Body Problem, Dark Forest, and Death's End. 3 Body Problem was just okay for me. For some people, that's like their favorite book of all time. I don't quite get that, but I see the intrigue and the relevance of it, and it is a decent read, but it gets you to the Dark Forest, which to me, I think will change the way most people think about first contact and life in the universe, and I think it's the best of the series. And then Death's End, which I think is the most epic of the series. and I think you're doing a disservice to yourself, is that a little bit harsh to say, if you miss out on reading Death's End. It's that epic and that interesting and that thought-provoking. Okay, and is that the last one? Number 10, reminds you of a specific moment or period of time in your life. So this one I chose Star of Danger. This was one I was going to put for my teenage years answer, but it's not really that significant. But Sasha put a little heart on here for me. I keep finding little notes all over the house. Like, Paolo has his Russian homework, and there's little notes, I love you, which I know are not from him, but they're from Sasha, and here we have a little heart. So I find these things around the house, and she's just too sweet. But I remembered this book from childhood, and I even have a picture of my cat from, like, when I was, like, I don't know, 12, and this book is in the background, and you can't see any of this, it's all faded. And I had no idea what it was, and I don't think, Marion Zimmer Bradley is not an unknown author, but she's also not, like, really, really well known. But I didn't know what the book was, and in my head I'm like, oh, I gotta find this, because I remembered having it was so appealing to me. It was the first science fiction exposure I had ever had, and then I found it, and I read this with Paolo a few years ago. I couldn't believe, like, whatever search terms I put in, I can't even, because I really don't remember anything about the story at all, but somehow I found it. I might have even just researched the year that I thought it was. I assumed it was a new release around that time. But I found it, and the story's not like, it's a good book. It's really good. It's fit to be read, but it's not like, if you miss it, you miss it. That's okay. To me, it had special relevance, and so I'm glad that I found it. So the last part of this is I have to tag somebody else. And this was the part of this that I was the most excited about, or I thought I was, and I still am. But I was so excited to do this video because, like, going through this list, and I think this was the purpose of this, and I should mention that I believe her name is Kim, who I don't know, but I did just subscribe because I went to her page after seeing this tag and watched some of her stuff on bookmarks, and breadsticks. Really great contact. I love the way she presents, so direct and straightforward. I'm looking for it. That's great. It's a new channel I found, so there's so much content there for me to, like, just go back through her archives and look through, so I'm so excited for that. But yeah, like, it's really cool to have an opportunity to shout out some of my, like, absolute favorite booktubers. And, this kind of span, they're booktubers that are just phenomenal people. I was on a live stream the other night watching, really large booktubers, and they're all great, but I think some of my favorites are folks that are, channels that are a little smaller or a little larger than mine are, which, again, that's not relevant. It's like, what is the content you're putting out and who is it? And, Jess's stuff on Bookish Mom, like, sometimes, like, the kids haven't gone to sleep and, like, just go to bed, and then, like, I'm angry and I don't want to film anything. I literally, I feel a little weird saying this, but, like, I'll watch her video just because she's, like, very bubbly and laughing, and, like, it just kind of puts me at ease, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna dive into this now. I'm ready to go, and I'm feeling a little goofy too. So anyway, my first shout out is Dustin at Dragon Army Books. Dustin reviews also, like me, a lot of science fiction, maybe even a little bit more fantasy, I think is his thing, and he can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Really, really love his channel. He's got a really interesting take on books, and I feel like a little bit of a connection there, just in the sense of, and again, I don't know Dustin's personality other than watching his videos, but, like, for me, like, the most exciting thing that could happen to me with my YouTube channel in terms of, like, getting views or subscribers is the engagement in a community, feeling like part of a community of just people who really love to talk about books, and, like, having conversations eventually going on in the comments, and, like, I love that too, or what about this part? Like, that to me is the most exciting part. But I can just see that enthusiasm that Dustin has about books, and I love it. Also, BookTube Goddess, oh my god. This is another one where, like, if I need a laugh, and I don't want to just say just a laugh, because this channel is it's great. So much talent, such a great presentation. There is a little bit of shtick here in that it's drag queen book reviews, but it's so great, and I just want everybody. I want to put another category into this list, like a booktuber I want everybody to see, or a moment I want everybody to see. BookTube Goddess has a video, I think it's called Drama with Cindy. Just watch the opening of it, talking about spreadsheets, she's gonna be like, ah, there he goes again, because like I'm beating a dead horse now with this. I literally 5 times a day am rewatching this clip because I'm just dying inside laughing. It's so hysterical. But the channel just, it's great content, great take on books. Perpetual Pages, Adri, not sure if I pronounced your name exactly right. I don't know this booktuber well, other than that I watch I watch their videos, and I always make the same comment. I learn so much about a particular book in 10 seconds than I learn in other videos in an hour. There's so much information packed in, and even though it's very fast, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. It's such a phenomenal channel, so I'm tagging you, Adri. I hope you'll do this because I'm really curious to see where you fall, just like everybody else, where you guys all fall on this list. And then Chai with Chetenya, I'm sorry, I probably am butchering that too. And I believe very new to booktube as well, but just like a really, you see personality come on the screen that just seems so genuine, so laid back, and just like a really kind of a nice calm voice in booktube. So enough babbling on from me. Thank you for this tag, Jess. I hope I did this justice. Michael Everts, Fit to be Read. Good night.